welcome to Sci-Spi, the channel where science meets spirituality. I am Anna Laparachi, and I'm here to speak about the possibility of blending science with spirituality. So, first of all, I would like to explain very briefly that why I've been away for a long time from the YouTube community, because I've been having health issues, but also some excuses I have to say due to my analysis paralysis of wanting to be perfect and creating a YouTube channel, adding some devices such as this microphone. So about talking even with some of my friends on some suggestions, all of this analysis stopped me from creating YouTube videos. So I just thought I will be putting a halt on adding and analyzing and just going with the flow, improvising with my channel at the moment, and in the future, of course, I will do some improvements. So let's get to the topic: blending science with spirituality. So today there has been up to today, or hopefully in the future this will change. There has been a dichotomy between religion and spirituality and science. There has been this belief that we must separate these two things, not make them mix up there, because one can be proven, one cannot be proven. But there have been some teachers, some spiritual teachers in the past who believe that spirituality is a real science. And there has been some scientists that introduced some spiritual elements in their research. So can these two be really that separate? I believe not. I believe that in the near future there will be the introduction of more of consciousness concepts into science. And the reason being is that if we don't put consciousness into the equation, I feel that everything can come to a halt. There won't be that much evolution of science if we don't put consciousness into the equation. So, said this. How can I explain this? How can I explain the necessity of a blending consciousness with spirituality? It's necessary because there are two things involved. There's the experimenter and the thing that is experimented on. In other words, the traditional science looks outside for evidence. There's looks always outside for the macrocosm and the microcosm. Macrocosm through big, huge telescopes, and microcosm through microscopes. So we're looking continuously through a lens. That's what's happening. We're looking through eyes, through a lens, through a machine. Looking essentially for ourselves. But there's something that, so let me get to this again. We're looking outside, and even when we do experiments, scientific experiments, we're experimenting on something outside of us. We're separating us from what is being experimented on. The twist, we can say, is when you are the one being experimented on and you are the experimenter. Doesn't mean that you're voluntarily participating in a trial and you're the scientist and the patient, we could say, at the same time. No. Here, in this case, you're being the one that's looking through the microscope, metaphorically, at yourself. In other words, in this spiritual scientific method, if we can put it, you are gathering data on yourself through certain teachings and verifying that information. So there's a blending of science and spirituality when you put yourself into the equation, when you put your perception into the equation. And the lens, again, I'm using figuratively the microscope or the telescope as an analogy. When we look through the microscope or the telescope, we're looking through a lens. We're looking through a reality, the galaxies or the cells or the bacteria or whatever. We're looking through the lens through reality. Transitioning that concept into the spiritual realm, that lens is represented by our perceptions, by our belief systems. And these belief systems are can be complex initially to understand. And they're very more complex, can be complex, but more, I would say more than complex, or they can be tricky to unravel. Because these belief systems come from our ancestors, from society, from our family, from our past trauma. So it comes from so many different factors that these belief systems create a lens through which we see reality. Once we work on these belief systems, but really working on them, spending some time on them, not just fantasizing, oh, this is my belief system, then we can start to see reality, start to see through that lens, and start to see more of ourselves. And when we see more of ourselves, we also see the outside, or literally like the outside in a more clear way. So imagine us working on our belief systems, working through our own perceptual lenses, and how this can have an impact on doing research, scientific research, through us working through the telescope. So imagine us working on our belief systems to clean our own internal lenses, and then working through the physical scientific lens of the microscope and the macroscope. Do you believe that this won't have an impact? This won't mean anything? Well, I invite you to have a think and meditate about that. And I can also maybe make a video next time about how to work on our belief systems. And as I said, it is a very active process. Working on our belief systems, it requires time, and I would say it's not a joke. I can maybe refer to my own experiences to make an example. I think that can be useful. But this is just one video of how I believe that there can be from a dichotomy, a union between these two concepts. One, spirituality, one, the scientific method. Let me know what you think about it. Do you believe that these two concepts can be united, that the dichotomy is almost over. Let me know in the comments below